Unless you live under a rock, I'm sure you've seen the video compilations on TikTok and other social media of these weird photos. They're usually labeled places or photos that look familiar but make you uncomfortable, or some variation of that. It certainly gives me both of those feelings of both familiarity and discomfort, but why? Hey humans, it's Hannah. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, I do videos on creepy and disturbing things. So if that's also your thing, consider subscribing. So basically, I love these photos. They make me feel really weird. Like I just stepped into some weird nostalgic creepypasta or something like that. But I just had to know, and I had to explore why. What is it about these photos that creep us out so much? And why do they seem so familiar? And more importantly than that, why do they seem so familiar to everyone? Even though there's no way that everybody who views the photos could have all been in those exact same places, yet they all seem familiar to everyone who views them. So the answer is deeper than this, but essentially it invokes this really odd deja vu. Most of you already know, but for those of you that don't, deja vu is French for already seen. It's the experience when you feel like you've already seen exactly what's in front of you, even though you know you've never been there before or you've never seen it before. Another YouTuber named Adrian Gasly already made a video similar to this topic, and I will have his video linked in the description because it was really great. I have kind of a different insight into it than he does, even though I agree with most of his video. But basically for the familiarity part, Adrian in his video speculated that these photos seem so familiar to us because the photos contain items and places that are similar to things we've seen before. So basically they feel like photos from our childhood. I do agree with him on that, but I also think this might even go further. I think that the reason they seem so familiar is because the way the snapshots are taken, they look like old photographs. And let me elaborate on that. Looking at these images, they make me feel like I'm sitting on the couch with my mom when I was 12, looking through film, physical old photographs from, printed from digital cameras, all from the 90s and the 2000s, when we all, used to go to Target and actually get our film printed. I personally think that that's the reason that these photos all look so familiar, is because they're all photographed in that very similar fashion. And it gives you that same feeling of when you're going through stacks of those type of photos. And so they seem familiar because it gives you that similar feeling. Furthermore, deja vu is basically unusual memories, or the feeling that you're having a memory. And experts actually say that deja vu is usually experienced in younger people aged 15 to 25. If you've noticed, a huge chunk of TikTok and other social media tends to be made up of mostly younger people. And this is where these photos circulate. So therefore it would make sense if millennials like myself and Gen Z recognize these photos, because the photos all look like from the 90s in the early 2000s when our generations grew up, and now we're on social media looking at them. I mean, pretty much all of us, when we didn't have smartphones as a kid, we would go to a skating rink with neon lights. Now let's talk about why these photos make us uncomfortable. As Adrian pointed out in his video, the photos never have people in them. And he speculated that this is what gives us a sense of loneliness, and so it makes us feel really odd. I agree with that, but I also disagree. I think that the uncomfortableness we get from the photos goes even deeper than that. I actually think it's because the place looks abandoned in all of these photos. It often looks run down, and yes, there's no people in it, but that makes it look really, really eerie and makes us feel like we're somewhere where we shouldn't be. Looking at these photos makes you feel like you're trespassing, that you're going into this abandoned place where you're not supposed to go, like we're invading somebody else's property. And because it's abandoned, it also then makes us feel like something's gonna pop out at us at any moment. You know how when you go to a place and it's super abandoned and just really, really quiet, and not just normal quiet, but like you feel the quiet in your bones because it's that eerie and abandoned, and it basically builds this suspense and tension as we almost are waiting for something to come out and scare us. At least that's what I get when I look at the photos. And I know nothing's gonna jump out at me because it's a photo, but it makes me scared, as if I was in that place all alone, not sure how to get out, I would be really creeped out. And then because of that, these photos almost look apocalyptic, like a zombie's gonna come out or somehow all humans have gone extinct. So all these photos look like nowhere, but then everywhere at the same time. Look at this one that's a photo of outside a hotel pool. You can remember some hotel you went to with a similar view. Or this hallway. We've all had an old house, hotel room, or a childhood friend with a house who had a hallway similar to this, but not exactly. So we can't put our finger on it, but we know it looks familiar. So it looks like nowhere, but everywhere at the same time. An empty department store. All department stores look similar in some ways. So when it's empty, we recognize it as a department store, but not one we've ever been to, and it looks weird because everybody's gone. An old bedroom. We all had similar toys or funny bedspreads and one of those vintage TVs. So again, it looks like something we've seen before, but we know in our core that it's not our old bedroom. This arcade. Arcades all have something similar in them. The lights, the games, the crazy carpets. So when it's empty, we all know what it is and it looks like one we've been to, even though we can't place which specific arcade it is. See where I'm going with this? All the photos look familiar because we know exactly what they are. And we've probably seen similar places or similar things in our childhood. But they make us uncomfortable because they're abandoned and maybe even give us that trespassing or apocalyptic feel. This really is a very fascinating psychological phenomenon. I'd be really interested to know who just randomly saw a photo like this and it made them feel so weird that they decided to find others like it and then put compilations together. All right, please comment down below and tell me which of the photos in this video made you the most uneasy. For me, I think it's the weird abandoned hallways because those are the ones that look the most familiar to me and also kind of feel like they're out of a dream. A lot of these photos make me feel like I'm kind of dreaming. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a good day and I will see everybody in the next one.